everyone, welcome to another episode of Turning Pages, the podcast that celebrates African literature. My name is Vuvu Vena. Today we are in South Africa with a local literature reviewer, another book lover, Omphile, better known on her platforms as Bookamoso, who's got presence on YouTube, Instagram, as well as on her blog. We are in conversation with her surrounding what we love so much about literature, reading, and books in general. We are of a folklore heritage. We were conceived in the womb of beautiful words, birthed into a captivating world that we've spent eternity trying to name, tell, retell, and paint. Wrapped and cradled in stories, intsomi namabali. Our words create worlds. They transport, they mirror, they convict, they give lashings and hugs. They create and can never be undone. To hide between the pages of a book is to find pieces of yourself before you even were. Welcome to Turning Pages, the podcast that celebrates African literature from the continent and the diaspora. I'm your host, Vuvu Vena. This episode first appeared on my Booktube channel, Vuvu Vena Reads, and we shot it at Book Circle Capital in Melville at 27 Boxes. The idea initially was to have these conversations on my channel to engage fellow book lovers and to talk about literature outside just reviewing books. However, I have since decided to move all conversations onto Turning Pages as it's a better fit for this kind of thing. And without any further ado, do stay tuned to hear what that conversation with Omphile was like. On today's video, I'm sitting with Omphile, better known as Bookamoso over on IG, and we're gonna have our second ever lit conversations with a book lover. And today's conversation is basically gonna rotate around the importance of reading and what our experiences of reading and reading with other people and having our children read has been. And as you can hear from the title, it is a conversation that we're gonna have. So before we start, I'll allow you to greet the people and say a bit about yourself.
Okay. Hi everybody. My name is Omphile. I am a reader, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I call myself a book evangelist.
Yes.
So, I love reading. I love talking about books. I love collecting books. I love buying books and searching for books all over, secondhand store, beautiful stores like these ones, everywhere, literally. So I gift books. I love gifting books.
And you literally the plug, like when it comes to especially secondhand bookstores and like your independent booksellers online. I first heard about a lot of them from you and your page. Can you give us first a differentiation between Omphile and Bookamoso for people who don't know what Bookamoso is all about?
Okay, so I feel like Omphile, Bookamoso is an extension of who I am because I've always loved reading. Before I started with Bookamoso, I was always a reader, and it just started from there, from me living in Bloem, and I created a book club, a physical book club. And when I moved from Bloemfontein to Joburg, I decided, okay, there's no way we can meet up because everybody lives in faraway places or whatever, and some of my friends back then were not into that much reading. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start it online. So Bookamoso is like an online book club. It's a community basically because it's just only me running it. I don't have physical meetups. I don't do those things. Initially when I started, I was like, I'm too afraid of human beings. But I realized over the years, I'm not afraid of human beings.
You're not. No, that's the last thing you're afraid of.
I'm not afraid of human beings, but I just don't do the actual monthly meetup where people choose a book. Whatever I feel like reading that month, I will read. If I have a book from a publishing house, I will read. So Bookamoso is literally just me sharing my love for reading, the journey of my love for reading, basically. It can be me waking up in the morning and I'm like, oh gosh, look how cute my kids are holding books, and then I just take pictures of them, or I can go for a walk and I see a flower and I'll go back into the house, take a book, come back and take a picture. Literally, that's what I did today. So the current picture that's on my timeline was literally me saying, oh, I remember that I got a haven't been feeling well, so I decided to take the book and take the you know how you unbox. I didn't take an unboxing, but I decided to accept it, and then 2 days later I'm like, oh yeah, I got that book. So that's me. Like Bookamoso is literally an extension of who I am, because I will gift books instead of your normal typical gifts for birthdays. So it is an extension of who I am.
And I almost feel like it's not a conventional book club, because people expect that book clubs are, we must select this book for this month, we must all read it, we must all, exactly, and it must be whatever, whatever.
Words.
And for me, I do feel like you not making it so conventional, from the little that I've observed of you, is definitely within your personality, which makes it easy, because I see you as a very free-flowing type of person, and I don't think that you would have been able to sustain something that was that restrictive. Right?
Yeah, like I agree with you. Yes, like I feel like I don't want it to make it. I don't want to overthink it. I don't want to overthink posts. I don't want to overthink reviews. Sometimes I even call them write-up. It's just a write-up. You read a book and you tell the person, like, we're conversating what the book is about.
And it doesn't have to be super intelligent, like you're saying, overthought and overwritten. No. You just need to say, what is this? Oh, did you like it? Did you not like it? Yes. And I think that's very important. And I think that's part of what draws me to this community, because a lot of times the intimidation from somebody who's on the outside trying to infiltrate any community is how you carry yourselves. And I think that accessibility is so important. And when they see that, okay, here are people who are drawn to Bookamoso's account, and Bookamoso is not trying so hard to be this type of person, they can say, oh, okay, if she can do that, I can do it. And that's very important.
Exactly. And that's where I started to do, because I realized I attend some of my friends' book events, like like before COVID, they would have like monthly meetups, and I'd go, and I decided to call it. I've got hashtags, Bookamoso Book Club Tour, because then I show the people who are following Bookamoso, who are on my pages. This is how people who run physical book clubs run their pages, or run a book club, and these are the members, and these are the people that attend. To show them that it's like normal people. It can be 4 or 5, it can be 6 people, it can even be 2 people every month who meet up and have a book conversation about one book. It doesn't even have to be the same, because that's how mine started. I signed up Bookamoso Book Club with my local exclusive books in Bloemfontein, and nobody knew that they exclusive books actually had a book club
discount special.
The discount, and how they can borrow out 10 books. People didn't know that back then. And we chose different books. We didn't have to choose one book. And then when the discussion started, it would be like, okay, I read from this, and I'm sorry, but I didn't finish it. We were not restrictive. It was just chilled. It was just a bunch of friends meeting at the end of a Thursday evening or whatever, and then
over a common interest.
Yes, over a common interest. So I like that. I like that I can show people that this is how you start reading. And sometimes I write about how I'm struggling with the reading. And it's okay.
And I think people expect, just because you like to read, that you will always, every single day, you are ready to read. It's kind of like somebody who writes. You're not always in the mood to write. You're not going to be
Sometimes you go through a dark period. You have to get through that. Sometimes you go through a reading slump. I'm going through a weird week, but I found that reading with like an audiobook and reading sometimes helps. So,
and that's, I think, the other thing that, yes, it looks like a lot of people who love to read are more vocal these days, right? And are out there, etc., etc. This community is budding, it's growing, and it's quite beautiful to see. But I think for a lot of people, the reading thing has been something that they've clutched like close to their hearts for a long time, because it's of the power that it has. Like you've pointed to it now when you say you're going through a strange week, but you know that picking up a book and listening to a book is helping. And I want to talk about our reasons for reading, right? Because it does have a power to heal, but what else do you think that it does for you when you actually read?
For me, I feel like it liberates me. Like if I wake up in the morning and I'm like, yo, something doesn't feel right. For me to get myself out of that funk, I have to read something. Some people have to write and journal. I've lost the journaling, which is something that I need to go back to. Reading for me, it literally completes me. I can feel very empty, but then at the end of the day, after like reading the whole day, literally the whole day, because hey, what you guys have gotten me into,
you are addicted to the Zulu brothers. Tell the people.
But the thing is, I'm actually glad that I caught onto it now, because now I can easily buy the book now, the fourth book, because I have been going through like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We've been reading for a month.
Yes.
And the Shlomo series is crazy.
And we've forced an embargo on you because you are ahead. Yeah?
Yes, now I'm ahead of you guys, and I'm just sitting here waiting. Like, okay, these girls are slow.
And you know what, as you talking about that, the one thing that, there are a few things that I've watched on you, online from you, that I really, really love. And that's one, your support of other people that read, right? We expect that this community is going to be, because we all know influencers, and these book influencers are starting to come out, that it's going to be a competitive atmosphere. But I think you're one of the people who's been doing it for longer, and your reception of people that are coming into the scene is very telling of your personality and what you are all about, as well as you're pointing to, because you are my plug, I told you, you're my plug for the second-hand stores, you're my plug for the festivals, you're my plug for even the place that we at today was you who told me about it. We are at Book Circle Capital, by the way, and I would have never known about this, like I said, it's a treasure trove because it's filled with African books, and everybody who's following this channel knows that this year I was very intentional about reading from the continent, but I needed to plug in with people like you online, etc. So your ease of, it's almost like you are, I want to say, motherhead, right? You say, okay, you coming in, okay, come, I'll show you the way, come. And I love that, and I think if there's that common interest, right, we should be able to say, we're accessible, did you know about this? What do you think about that? Come along to this, and make people feel comfortable to know that this is. So I want to understand, where does that come from? Why do you think it's just the love of books? Or like I was saying to you, that you actually do love people? So do you think it's a mixture of that?
I think I'm a people's person. And it took me a long time to actually accept that. So I like it when there's harmony. Like, I like harmony. I don't like conflict. It just stresses me out. I don't like being stressed out. I love having people feeling like a feeling of togetherness. Everything is better together. I actually also have something in my house that has, I got it from church, and it's better together. It's two birds separate, but the other one is written better, the other one is together. So everything is always better together. I just feel like, can we do this love for all these books and all these amazing stores together? Like, can we all just love on one another, love on the authors, love on the publishing houses, love on everyone, the whole chain, and just be together? That's just who I am.
And can you tell us a little bit more of your love for African literature? When was that birthed, and why have you made sure that you want to fan that specific focus on literature?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know when did it start, but I'll tell you what sparked my love for reading Black authored books.
Yes.
The Color Purple. My favorite book. I don't have it here, but everybody knows it's my favorite book.
I only read it this year for the first time.
Really?
Actually, yes.
Representation matters to me. So I feel like I've always been intentional about reading books that I can relate to. Our stories. I feel like our stories are so important, and for me to share my love for African women authored, even better. So for me, I can't pinpoint a time when I said, actually, wow. But Angela Maholwa, Sunyati, Angela Maholwa, actually, The 30th Candle were one of the books that I was like, nope, I'm not gonna borrow it. Nope. Those are my treasure. I was hugging them, and I was like, no, just go go buy your own. Her name is Angela Mafola.
And I'll recommend it to you.
I'll recommend it to you so I can make noise about a whole bunch of other women, Sunyati, just a lot. But I can't say this is the moment where I thought, wow. But Alice Walker writes black women and black people and black stories. So,
I love her. Alice Walker, it's a love. It's kind of like Toni Morrison.
It's like Toni Morrison, Alice Walker, Toni Morrison. So I collect Toni Morrison, and we were actually talking about it the other day. That we buying books that we don't have time to read, but I'm like, can I just collect all of them?
Yes. And the time will come.
The time.
It will come.
Books find you. That's the thing.
True.
Books find you, and you can have them on the case for a long time. But when they call you, they will call you.
So true.
Alice Walker called me at the back then at the right time, and I was young, very young, because like I was a teenager in high school, and the librarian chased me out of the library, out of the children's section, because she was like, listen, you're an adult now, please go downstairs. And she guided me, and I was like, okay, who do I want to read? And I went to W. So I started backwards, and then I saw The Color Purple, and I fell in love. And I read it years later in my adult life, and I thought, wow, like now I know why I loved it so much. Delicate, everything. Oh, yeah, I could write so many things
and
about
I think what you've pointed at is the importance, as much as a book from a shelf will scream that it's time for you to pick it up.
Yeah.
Also, I think we discover books through people.
Yeah.
It is a matter of somebody has to hold your hand through your initial initiation into. For example, whenever I told my book loving story, I always remember my mom, and I also have a memory of a library that she left me at with a librarian, and I know that had it not been for her, it might have taken longer for me to get into books, right? And like you're saying, there's this librarian who said, okay, you're done with the section now, can you come over here? And that's when and that probably is your earliest memory of a book. But what I'm trying to say is that a book will always have a person attached to it in terms of your memory.
Stories, always. Yes. Always a story,
That's so true. That's so true. Okay, then, like, going back to Bookamoso. Bookamoso, firstly, does it have a meaning?
Actually, it's a play on words.
Okay.
The book, this book, but the future, Kasetswana.
Oh,
without the O.
Okay.
So it's Bookamoso.
Okay.
So you hear people calling their children Bookamoso.
Okay.
They're the future.
Okay.
So I thought, actually, books are our future.
That is true.
And then I was like, actually, Bookamoso. So people are always like Bookamosa. I'm like, no, Bookamoso.
Okay.
Our future.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to talk to this whole idea of reading together. Like we are saying, we are buddy reading the Zulu brothers together. Thank you, Dudu, for the obsession. That is now.
Guys, I need ikunga, I need the mess, I need.
You just need everything, so that when at the end, actually, you feel like you are done. But I don't think people will ever feel like they're done with that particular series.
No.
They'll always want more. It is addictive. I'll give that to her. She's done something there that makes sure that you stay hooked. And I was talking to Hey Ann actually today, and she was saying, how are you finding out? I'm like, you know what, it took me a while to warm up to, but now I can officially say I'm hooked. I'm hooked. It's fine.
And the series found me as well. Again, going back to Books Will Find You. Years ago, when the whole craze started, my colleague was literally, when it was on PDF.
Yes.
She wouldn't be working.
Yes.
And
reading
she would be literally.
That's when I was reading it for the first time.
And I was wondering, and I was like, series. I'm not about that.
Yes, you don't like series.
I don't like series. I really don't. And Dudu has literally sold me. Now I'm like, okay, I need to go and start like collecting money. Like my randelas need to pile up now for the 3. Tagalani M's series as well, because I want to know what happens.
So I wanted to talk to the idea of reading with other people. You know, you were talking about sometimes you get into a very dark place, a place where you can't do, and it is dark because you can't do something that you love. It doesn't matter how many. I remember there was a time that I was going through a slump, and I probably opened like 8 books, and nothing was working. I was like, what the hell is going on? But I know that for sure one of my medicines is reading with other people, right? And reading with other people, because I get to say, guys, did you see? You know, so that I get the energy given back to me. And whereas when you're reading alone, sometimes it does feel lonely if you can't share it. And probably that's why we start platforms like the ones that we start, so that you can share this. But then what do you think is the importance of having other people on the journey, on the reading journey with you? It won't be every book. There are books that require you to be alone with, right?
So we have, I don't know if you know, we have another reading group.
Okay.
We started with the 30th Candle, and then I just changed it to just a reading group. It's just reading group.
Yes.
The initial thing was the 30th Candle, and then we'll see. So that whole holding each other accountable and saying, okay, we're going to be reading and discussing this part from this week until the other, and then next week we'll meet online. I feel like everything has worked out for me because I've always been online anyway. And now everything is being moved onto your Zoom or WhatsApp, and we have a group. We have our xoxo buddy read, and that also works. And I feel like I am accountable. If you are reading with other people, we are holding each other accountable. And after we're done with this one book, it goes on to the next book. Now we read Homeboy, and I like that we can actually say, actually guys, can we extend? We hold each other with grace. We are flexible with one another's lifestyles. Someone will say, I can't this weekend, can you please go ahead without me? Or maybe let's push it for the other week, or record and then I'll watch later, you know. And technology has really done a good job for us for how everybody can meet in one room, virtual room. So holding each other accountable is very important, I think. So that's the one lesson that I've learned, because when I'm alone and I'm posting by myself, I can stay for a whole week without posting. But with other people, I can actually read and say, no, Shomo, we are discussing it this Friday. Today's Wednesday. I must actually spend 2 hours per day until I'm at that point, halfway mark, you know. So
and it's and like we're saying, I'm gonna go back to this idea of reading as medicine, because when you are away from it for too long, you do feel the emptiness. So it helps that you have other people forcing you to get your joy. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly. You guys are literally holding me through my 12 books per year challenge, and you're ensuring that I'm now on my 13th book. Next month I'll be on my 4th. Like I thought it's crazy for me. You know, my target was 12, and that's it. And yes, for a person who talks books every day, it's still too much to even see beyond 12.
So it brings me to the next question, right? About reading targets. People who have like your Goodreads have these targets that they set every single year. And sometimes, you know, I also get intimidated by people in March saying, I've read 50 books. I'm like, 50? How big are these books? What are you doing? But I want
Get into it.
Exactly. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm month 3. You're already on book 50. What are you doing? Like, tell us. But I also want to get into this idea of, fine, I love that you say 12 books for yourself. I think that was my target also 2 years ago, because I was still trying to ease back into reading. There was a time where I wasn't reading as much, and I wanted to ease back into reading. And this year I set a different target, because I thought, okay, at the time that I said 12 books, there were so many things. I had 2 very young babies. I was studying, doing my master's. I was also a single mom. And I was like, please, girl, you're not going to read more than 12 books. Let them read their 100 books. Focus on yourself, right? And also, talking about motherhood, being realistic as a mother when you're setting these targets, because there's nothing like the guilt of not finishing something that you love. You know, so let's just talk through that. What do you feel? Like you say, 12 books, some people might see it as a lot, some people might not see it as a lot. Why do you decide to set your targets the way that you set them?
Because I love being kind to myself. I'm intentional about it. And like I said, I don't like conflict with other people. I don't want conflict with myself. Like I can't put myself under that pressure. People who read books, 50 books per month, like, it's okay. They're able to. I'm a mom.
I was about to say, context maybe as well.
Yes, and that's the other thing. So for me, I want to get into a book. I want to actually, I want it to drag me, or I want it to make me feel, you know. So I'm very kind to myself. I like subscribe to being kind to yourself first, and then you will know how to be kind to other people. I work everything into balance as well. I love balance. Everything is about balance and being kind to yourself. For me, that's it. And I still say my 12 is gonna stay for as long, because you don't know, you know.
And it doesn't make you less of a book lover. It does not make you less of a reader. And I know, like, and I like what you're saying, because it starts with knowing yourself. I know how I read. I love to read. I retain more from a book if I read it a bit faster, right? So I don't like the stop and start or dragging a book for a whole month or whatever the case is. So if I know that, okay, I've got this weekend, I have no commitments this weekend, I can sit down, read this book and finish it, that's what I'm going to do. The books that I always have, like you're saying, conflict internally with other books that I'm like, yo, it's the 4th week and we're still reading you, why are you still here? And what you are saying is that you need to be true. As much as you must always push yourself. I think once you attain something, you can always leave room to attain more, because you now proving yourself that I can read 12 books a year. So if you can read more, but I like how you're doing it. Your target is still 12, but if I still happen to read 15, I read 15. It's not like I'm gonna stop reading after 12. But let's talk to the challenge of reading when you have children, right? I know that I struggle a lot, and the balance is also trying to let your children know that this is my time. This is what your mommy does during this time, right? So I try to make my kids say, okay, if I'm reading, you're also gonna read. But obviously they're not at a stage where they can read. But I'm like, so that you can see that this thing requires silence and engagement. You're also opening a book if I'm opening a book, if you want to be in my presence. Otherwise, leave me alone. And there are elements of that mom guilt that come in when you're like, otherwise leave me alone, because you're like, I'm not with my kids because I'm opening a book. But you also know that, like I'm saying, this thing is therapy to you. It's making you a better person for those children. But at the same time, like, you need to balance that out, and as well as the time factor that now it's time for this because the kids need this, but I also feel like I need something. Now, how do you balance that?
I literally escape.
You run away. That's clever though.
There's a book that I was reading 2 months ago. In the car, in the garage. Like, we park our cars in the garage.
I've never thought of using my car.
I literally,
that is so clever.
I don't know which book was it. It escapes me, but I open the garage as if I'm going somewhere, and I sit in there, and I open the doors for air, and like I switch on the lights because it's dark in there, and I just sit and read. That's how I escape. I create moments for myself to read. I can wake up at 5, or I can wake up at 6, and the first thing I do, instead of holding my phone or reading a devotional or whatever, it's literally to pick up the book that I was reading the night before. If I'm reading a book that is like xoxo, I will find moments, even when I'm traveling, to switch on my this is what happened with xoxo. I was literally at home visiting my mom, and we slept late. But I had and she's like, listen here, I'm gonna switch off the light now.
It's bedtime.
Fine. Switch off your light. I don't have a light this side. So I took my phone, put it in the charger, and put on the flashlight. I was holding the light.
That's a good story though. That's a mom good story.
I needed to get into it, and I was in it. So creating moments for the books. I create the moments. Whether it's audio, like I put on the headphones while I'm cooking, and when my son wants to talk, I'll say, is it important? Like, me doing this is asking him, is it going to be something, like, is it for here? Is something happening? And then he'll be like, okay, don't worry, it can wait, and I'm like, thank you.
And I think that is also important, because I think that as parents, I don't even want to say mothers, we give so much to our children that we forget to give back to ourselves. And them understanding that this is something that my mom does for herself. She does so much for me throughout the day, but this is the one thing that she does for herself. So when you signal this, he can sit there and think, it's not like she won't be there when I need her. Do you get what I'm trying to say? This is really not important. I can wait for her.
Exactly. But it's like...
But you need to strike that balance. But it sounds to me, it's like it's not me, because it sounds like it's done from with a love. Like the language of it is love. So
sometimes I'm like, listen, hold on, let me pause, because I'm still listening to an audio, and then I'll pause, and then I will lift and say, what's up? You know, and give him the attention. Because sometimes I'm like, I just want to escape into this and feel it. Because I'm also starting with the audiobooks, so
yeah. And the thing is, I love what you said about reading in the morning. That never used to be me. So I was also very, I was learning to be very intentional and mindful with my mornings, right? But everything that everybody tells you, you must wake up, you must do this, you must do that, you must meditate, you must. So there came a point where that was causing me a lot of anxiety, and I was like,
now you have to do
this is not what this is all about, right? And I was like, okay, and on top of that, I don't feel like I'm in a good space. So the thing that I know that I love is reading, and I started reading. This was probably like 2 months ago or a month ago. I started reading in the mornings, and then I realized that this sets me up for a good day. So now I'm no longer thinking, oh, I must do this, I must listen to that, I must meditate, I must. Like, in the morning, I wake up, I make whatever I need to make, and I sit down in my chair, and I open my book, and I'm good for the rest of the day. So I think that it goes back to that knowing yourself, know the things that are, like you're saying, some people will say mornings are the time for devotionals, you set yourself, but if you have tried it and it's not working for you, and this is something that works,
that's your meditation.
Exactly, and that's very important. Let's talk to the idea of having our children read, right? So, and especially because both of us have more than one child, and children should be allowed to be whoever they want to be. Like whenever I tell my story, the impartation of reading of all my siblings, there's 4 of us at home, was given to me, and I was given the room to love that. Whereas my and all of my siblings have their different things. My older brother is good with music. That's the thing that he was given, and it was nourished in him, and it was allowed to grow. My older sister is into makeup, and that's something that she's recently learned, but she's always been stylish, and she's always liked those kind of things, right? My younger sister is into fashion. She's got impeccable style, but that's something that was allowed to grow in her. And I wonder if you were a person who loved one of these things. Let's say maybe if my parents really loved music, would they have wanted to give and nourish the idea of music in every one of us? Or is it important to watch your children and say, okay, fine, as long as my child is literate, as in they can pick up a book and read, but if they don't love it as much as I do, then it's okay. Let me find the thing that they love.
I had to learn that. It was very tough. I think I have a post where it's a year ago and recently this year where I was marveling at the fact that Mulimi, my 10-year-old, our 10-year-old he really loves reading now. And that wasn't the case. I thought, well, it wasn't really not the case, but I think I felt like I was forcing it, and that wasn't the case.
That's not how you fall in love with a thing as well.
I needed him to want to do it on his own, and it eventually came. And I'm glad to say, actually, I can go into a store and say, oh yeah, let me get him a book. Or I ask my husband, have you gotten these books? And then, because we buy books for sales, and then we put them aside, and we don't give them, because he gobbles them up, and so we're hiding them. It was gradual, and I think it's very important to not force things. The things that we like, we shouldn't force kids to do. I love watching movies. Certain movies, I can't force my child to. I mean, no, we can't. It's very important that we also invest in their interests. Like if they're interested in science, buy science books, buy magazines that speak on science. That is something. Don't because you like flowers, now you're busy buying the child flower magazines. You know? Exactly. I hear you. And like I'm saying, the thing is with us as well, it shouldn't be a chore. Reading should never ever be a chore.
That's true.
It's reading for pleasure, and it should be amazingly so for pleasure only.
That's true. That's true, and it's a thing. You're right. It's a thing of leisure. I'm thinking now when we were reading The Shadow King for 2 book clubs, right? And I had more than one person saying for my personal book club that, you know what, I'm struggling with this book. It's gonna take longer than the month that we've set for it, and I don't want that pressure of I must finish this book. And I was like, I absolutely understand, because that's when you fall in love with even the act. Fall out of love with even the act of reading, because now you feel like you're doing a set workbook at school, and you don't care what you read, because reading is also about retention, right? You want to remember the characters, you want to remember the plot, you want to fall in love with what this person has imagined, and if you're forcing it on yourself, you're gonna miss that, because you're just ticking a box. You want to say, I finished this book, you know?
That's the thing. It shouldn't be a chore. It shouldn't be a case of, I was sent this book, I need it.
Yes.
The minute it starts being like that, it's no longer gonna be about passion.
And it will start being dishonest as well, right? Especially when you are in the circle of you are receiving books from publishers. Is that now just because they've sent you a particular book, they expect, and you feel like the expectation is for you to read it, and you might read it and you might not like it, because also reading is a timing thing. Like I think we've alluded to that. So maybe the timing is wrong, but you force-fed yourself this book. Now you're gonna lie and say, oh, what a wonderful book. Whereas you're like, girl, be honest. Sit alone and think about your process while you are
be
reading.
honest. Even with the groups as well. Be very honest. Like, I'm struggling, guys. Like, this book is frustrating me. And you explain what you think is frustrating you about it. And it doesn't feel like such a burden or a chore as well, because you're sharing the frustration as well.
And also it talks about how people are also different. So you might find that you love this book so much. And I've also read it and I'm like, like, it should be okay for you to go, actually, she likes it, but I'm not sure about this one. And that's the thing. And I think that's what people trust from people who review anything, books, music, whatever, is that you are being honest, so that when I get to a point where I'm like, I love your taste in stuff, I know that I can trust you. You're not gonna shock me now and say you like a certain book, I go and I rush and I buy this book and I'm like, you like this book. Like all of the other books you've liked, I've liked, but now you say you like this book. I don't understand, you know? So it's important to stay authentic and honest with these kind of things. Okay, then talking about books, let's get into your recommendation.
I bought a whole bag.
And she has to tell us why she loves them. Tell us.
Really?
Yes.
No way.
Oh, what if it's books that you haven't read, why you are looking forward to them?
Okay, cool. I'm gonna start with the kiddies one. Okay, so I got this one. We got it recently, the best meal ever. Mo liked it. I like the fact that the story, it's like it's encouraging to hold on to hope. That was nice for little kids, for them to hold on.
And it's a value you want to teach very young.
Yes, I want him to always know that no matter what happens, just hold on. You know, that was. I liked the illustrations as well. Mulimi is very honest about the illustrations. He liked them. He's very honest, and I want to encourage that honesty in him for reviews and stuff.
And it's awareness also, because my thing is, when you're reading something with illustrations, you have to be aware that there are pictures and there are words, you know?
This book I got at, This is I have brown skin and curly hair. Just that name already. It's
I got this actually for my daughter.
Is it? It's amazing. I love it. So I buy books based on the fact that I want to send them on to the twins, because they too. So we keep them nice and clean as well still. This is a very important book for representation. Kids must know that. I like how it rhymes as well.
I love how they told the story.
It's like from grandfather all the way to the parents and the kids, and
the wording is easy to remember. Do you get what I'm trying to say? For a child,
the children, there's 3 children, and the other child has hair like her grandfather, and the other one has hair like her mother, and it's amazing. You're like, wow, the gene pool as well. So kids can also see that this is where we come from, this is where my grandmother was from, and this is how they came.
And I think that the question of identity is something that children battle with at a very young age. You're right? Because you go to school and you might find that somebody will say, for example, my 2 kids don't look alike. Do you get it? So if they come in front of people and they're like, we're siblings, people, because of how I guess sometimes it's a failure on our part on how we socialize children, there will be a little contestation on, you can't be siblings. You know? So now knowing that
my sister's light skinned.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so when you see this book, when you see this book as a child from a very young age, you're like, it's fine. Even if people say, you know,
we sisters. sisters,
Yeah,
family,
yeah.
and I like how it says family can be different.
Yes.
Family can be everybody. You
Yes.
know, like
Yeah.
And for the adults now.
Yes. The best thing that ever happened to us.
I mean, I wish we could get Daughters of Africa, because this is the anthology that came 25 years later, and I've been reading from it. I've read a few of the stories. These are in chronologic order, from the 1900s, I think, until I've scribbled
But that's a mark of a loved book.
Really?
Yes.
Actually, yes.
Yes.
So there's popular contemporaries in here. There is some I even wrote I'm actually going to read what I wrote here. Some authors I knew, okay, but some of them I feel like they were overlooked. And there's like emerging authors as well, African women from there's a lot.
And I think that's also the power of it, right? Is African women.
African women.
Wow.
And I actually got some of the authors signed because I was at the launch. So I've written where the books are signed, where the book is signed. Noma Venda Matiani, Sefi Atta, Aminata Fauna. So this is an amazing anthology. There's poetry. There is diary entries, I think.
It's one that you will keep going back to all your life,
like
actually.
forever.
All your life.
You don't actually give it.
So it's
like,
worth it, right?
You can't give it away.
Yeah.
In fact, you must just look for Daughters of Africa.
Valuable.
And then you've got both.
Yeah.
So that's the first one, and then my
vagabond.
I mean, brave.
Yeah.
Wandering through Africa on faith. Lerato Mokwatle went to, she left Joburg thinking that she's gonna be traveling Africa for 3 months, and it turned into 5 years.
Oh yes.
Of fabulosity. I wrote it's literally a story on faith. Really, it's a love letter to Africa. It was a self-discovery journey as well. So it's a travel memoir / love story /
I heard how she spoke about her experiences on SA Book Fair as well.
Yes.
And you know, when a person is that passionate about something that they've written, signed copies are everything. That passionate about something they've written, you want to trust that you can open this because the passion should seep onto the paper.
Exactly.
Well.
And she actually makes you want to travel Africa. Not just the world, but Africa. Even her Instagram, Madame Africa, is amazing. She literally breathes, lives traveling Africa and exploring the African continent. So the experiences in here are amazing, and there's pictures as well in between. So I love it, and I've covered it.
Yes,
because
protection.
I needed to. I was carrying it everywhere. Short stories. I read this a year ago. This is a very important book. This is Kelezo Mopai's If You Keep Digging.
Okay.
And whenever I get people ask me for recommendations, I always recommend this because I feel like it is a social and political commentary book on issues that are taking place in South Africa. She's written 13 stories, let me see. I think it's 13 stories, that are literally, I feel like Kelezo is socially aware of everything that happens around her.
Are these fiction?
Fiction.
Okay.
And there's stories where there's one story where a woman is reclaiming her identity, and it's identity. It touches on so many subjects, and I liked how she was sharp. Sharpness of observation. I love that about her.
I feel like we should also shout out Blackbird
Books.
Yes. Because I only have one book of
these are both published by Blackbird Books, actually. You only have?
I only have one book by them. It's by.
We must fix that.
Yes, I need to fix that. I need to fix that.
Now I know.
I need to fix
now
that. It's Piggy Boy Blues, and I haven't started it yet.
Is it?
Yes.
I haven't as well, but I haven't read it. So maybe next year we can pick
Yeah.
So I love it, and I love the covers as well, because the covers are there's a series of these. This was her first book, and I'm looking forward to what she's gonna bring, because wow.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And I like that it's a collection of fiction, because I think at some point I had thought that it was non-fiction. I don't know why. I had thought, because I've seen this around, I thought that it was non-fiction.
Really?
But I like that it's fiction, because that's what my heartbeat is. I love fiction.
Yeah, I love fiction. I'm like, yay.
Yeah.
I met Annalile. This is Igoli Dreams.
Okay.
I met Annalile Gibikeko 2 years ago. Let me see. 2018.
Yes, 2 years ago.
And she asked me to read the book and be a part of her book launch.
Okay.
And I was like, no, I don't do interviews. And yeah.
Why not?
I have my reasons.
Okay.
So this is like this is self-published. This is her first book, and she has since actually created her own publishing house.
Oh wow.
And she's printed these under her publishing house.
Wow. So there's a reprint. If somebody's looking for it, it might not look like
It
this.
might, yeah. It looks the same, but it doesn't look. There's things that are changed, like the paper and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a story of a young woman called Nobile. No was she was a rebel. She left home without a plan, and she was like, my dream is to go to Joburg and start a life.
Okay.
And girl comes to Joburg, does an internship in a marketing company, and she meets a man.
Hunk of a man.
A hunk of a man, and he charms her, and she just goes through like a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't want to give it away.
Okay.
But it talks on abuse, on feminism, also patriarchy as well, and our parents, and how our parents want us to do the stuff that they wanted, that they dreamt for us, and she didn't do what her parents asked of her. Like, she studied something else, and she was now working and trying to prove a point that I can do this in marketing. But obviously she went through this ordeal, and yeah, but she found love in Joburg, and this is Igoli Dream. And
it's something that's got a happy ending. I love happy ending. Okay, no, don't tell me if it doesn't. Moving right along.
Okay, so these are the books that I am currently reading. This I'm reading for the reading group. Queen is frustrating me, so I stopped and I went back to Tomo.
Yes.
And I finished the second one. I finished Zandile and the other one. I'm still busy with the other one.
With Naledi.
Naledi, yes. So this is what I'm reading now. I brought it because I wanted to show you guys what I'm reading now. And I'm currently reading this with audio for Scribed. So I read it along with Scribed. So when I'm driving, I listen, and then when I get home, I fast forward to wherever, and then I read while I'm listening. Because I was trying to get into audio.
And I'm saying, I like the fact that when you have, I only ever listen to audio that I have physical books too, right? Because also, we don't know, I was hearing, I listened to something that I was saying that reading along with audio also helps you to read faster, right? It trains that reading muscle, because now you have to read at the pace of whatever you're listening to.
Exactly.
And if you are a person who reads the sentence, forgets what the other sentence said because you're reading so slowly, and apparently fast reading also helps with the retention, information retention. So sometimes people think that the slower you read, the more you're gonna absorb, but apparently it's not the case. You have to, for you to remember stuff, you have to go through a book a bit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now we know.
Yes.
Okay, I also brought books that I'm looking forward to reading because I recently got them, and
Girl.
Sunyati's The Polygamist. I know I'm late to the party, but yeah, it's okay. I just recently
and that's the
got it
thing with
signed.
books also, right? They don't expire. These things are perfect forever. So whenever, even if you read it 5 years from now, it's not
fine. Because I started with The Gold Digger, and I loved it. It broke my heart.
I was about to say,
I loved it.
I'm still recovering from The Gold Diggers.
I know.
I'm like, sweet Lord. Yeah.
And the only man in the group is Nick Mhlongo.
Yes,
Paradise in Gaza.
Yes.
And I saw a tweet of his calling it pig. Please go and get pig. Obviously,
of course.
Nick has to be.
Yeah, he has to be Nick. Nick has to be Nick.
So, I love the cover.
So
I'm looking forward to this.
A lot of his books have this kind of design now. I saw one
There it is. It's way back home.
I just want to show it.
Yes.
They have a lot of, and I like this. I like this whole thing. Sorry, that's going on here.
Yeah.
So this is what they. Yeah. I love this, and I love books that have continuity because they look so good on your shelf when you do this, and you're like,
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I love
so I got this recently, and I'm looking forward to it next year.
Okay. I'm also doing. I don't think I'm gonna read. I'm reading his books now, right? All of them in chronological order. I have all of them except for now he's got Josie Noir.
Josie Noir.
So I don't have that. But
also out, right?
Yes. So they came out the same month, but I don't have it. So yeah.
And I got More Than Enough, Claiming Space for Who You Are No Matter What They Say by Elaine Welteroth.
I've never heard of the book.
She's a journalist, award-winning journalist, and former editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. And the foreword is by Ava.
Okay.
So yeah, I read a bit for the live book readings. I read a bit of it.
Actually, you shot that out. How many? You do it on Fridays, right?
Yes.
So she does live book readings on Fridays on her Instagram. So you just read any extract of any book that you have that you feel like you want to share?
Yes. Because when we started it, it was, I don't know how we got through it. From March, when we did hard lockdown.
Yes.
Up until September.
And your son used to help you out.
I would read. He would read at 3, and I would do another reading at 5 for the
And that time you were doing it every day. Hey? Yeah, I commend you for that commitment because you only did Fridays later on.
I just started Fridays this month.
Yes.
October, yeah. So it's only Fridays, so it's once a month now. I could easily go back, but it'll be a long shot because there's only enough.
And I think you've exposed so many books that people would not have heard about.
Yes.
And I think that's the power of the live readings for me, right? Every time that I tune in, and I like the fact that all the time you save them on your IGTV. So even if it's been missed, you'll find it there, right?
Yes.
And like I'm saying, you are a great advocate for African literature, and there are books that I wouldn't have known. The other day you were reading an extract from one of these African literary journals of a book that has short stories, I think. And that short story is still playing in my head.
This is the one that I read last week.
Okay.
I think I read from, I did read from it. I got it last week. This was part of the press print campaign because Chakana was asking for assistance, and this was printed with the help of people who came through and said, okay, I'll sign up for a pre-order. So we did the pre-order, and this is the result. And this is her first book.
I love that concept.
Anne Adams. Yes, it's a brilliant concept.
It's very powerful.
Thank you for supporting the publishing of this book.
Oh, that's very powerful.
So this was amazing. This is, I'm looking forward to it. This is Those Who Live in Cages, a novel. It's based on 5 women, Bertha, Kaylin, Laverne, and Janice and Raquel. I say the way she reads it as well, but it's Raquel. Yeah, and this is like a love letter to Eldorado Park as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Diversity is beautiful,
Exactly. And it's one of the books that Jakan is printing before the end of the year, and I'm excited about it. So.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing. Yes, this was fun. Sharing your little pearls from the community as well as from what you actually love to engage with. We really appreciate that. I will link Bookamoso's YouTube channel down below as well as her IG. So if you guys don't follow her on Instagram, please do that. And remember, on Fridays at 5 she does live readings on her channel. Otherwise, thank you so very much for choosing me and tuning in. And until next time, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to rate and review this podcast. Any engagement on any of my platforms means a lot to me. And until next time, remember, every page turned is something learned. Keep turning pages. I'd love to hear your thoughts about today's episode, so why not search for me on social media? On Instagram, I'm Vuvu Vena _Reads. On Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, I'm Vuvu Vena Reads. And you can also find me on my website, which is www.vuvuvenareads.com. And until next week, I really do love you guys. Bye now.